Hi, in this video I'm going to introduce you to C# value types. I want to start with a brief overview of C# types. At the root of my inheritance I have system objects. Classes are objects. They derive from object, just the way we're used to from Java. However, in C# there are also other types that are objects. For example, delegates and also value types. There are two different types that are value types, enums and structs. This is what we're going to focus on in this video. So let's start with enums. Enums provide an efficient way to define a set of named integral constants that can be assigned to a variable. In order to create an enum, we use the keyword enum, like this. Each of these enum constants has an underlying integral value associated with it. By default, these values are 0, 1, 2, etc., and the underlying integral type is an integer. 0 is the default value for an integer, so the enum constant that has 0 associated with it is the default value of my enum. Now in my case, the default for direction is north, and north doesn't really make sense. Many times it's good to consider adding a default constant, like this. I could have none, that means not specified, that we don't know yet, and then we have our other options like north, south, east, west. Here is an example. I have a public enum, move, with up, down, left, and right. And in order to access one of those different choices, I use the dot operator, and I'm using one of those enum constants. And I can assign it to a variable of my enum type. I can also print the enum. Here I am printing my enum 3 times. First, I just say my move. This is my variable. Then I'm calling the toString method. Remember, enums derive from objects, so they inherit the toString method. And then I'm casting it to an integer because I would like to know the underlying integral value. The result is left, left, and 2. Notice that my move and my move toString lead to the exact same result. The reason is the following. When I print my move, the toString method is called. That's what my writeLine method does, just like the print method would do it in Java for us. System enum has a whole number of different methods. I'm going to point out 2 static methods. One is called getNames, the other one is called getValues. Let's have a closer look at the method header. Notice it's a static method. It returns an array of strings. Those are all my different enum names. And it requires one parameter. My parameter has a type called type. So here I have to provide the type of my enum. Let's have a look at an example. Here my enum is move. I have up, down, left, right, and I have this extra none as my default for the case that my move hasn't been specified yet. Now, when I want to access all the different names of my enum, I have to provide the type of my enum. There is a temptation sometimes to just provide move, but move is the name of my enum. I need the type. In order to get the type, I need to use this extra operator keyword type of. So I have to say type of move. That gives me the type of my enum move. And that's what I pass as an argument to my getNames method. Also notice that I call getNames directly on the type because it is a static method. Let's have a quick look at the results. I can see all my different names are printed. Now I could do something analogous with my values. Here I'm calling get values. Now this time each of my elements is not a string, but it is of type move, because we're getting all those different moves like up, down, left, right, and also our default move, which we called none. Here I access all my different moves, and as I print them, the toString method is going to be called. So once again, my result looks the same, prints all the names. If I would like the underlying number values, I could do that as well, but I would have to access the value as an integer. And in this case, it's going to return 0 to 4. There's one last thing I want to show you about enums, and it has to do with the underlying value. By default, we always start at 0 increment by 1, but it is possible to choose your own underlying value. So I could say I want that up starts with 5. Now in this case, all the following enum constants would be incremented by 1. And if I would execute the code, it would be 0, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now if I wanted down to be 10, left to be 15, then I would have to specify it individually for each of my enum constants. Needless to say, we don't want our default none to be anything else than the integral default value 0.